Four Nights of the Apocalypse chapter 228 is officially out, and after the shocking events of the previous two chapters, where Bond got aged up to the point of coughing up his own organs, while also reviving the Chaos Beasts in order to take hostages amongst all of the citizens that were trying to flee from the carnage in battle, with Nazians getting injured, the Sens basically just accepted their defeat, allowing Cath to brutalize them incredibly to the point of them basically just dying on the ground and bleeding out from just an insane amount of damage, as well as citizens beginning to get killed by the Chaos Beasts, because Cath wasn't going to let anybody go, with the chapter ending with Elizabeth finally coming onto the battlefield to try and save everybody. And that's where this chapter leaves us, and it gives us something incredible. Elizabeth gets a new form, and we get to see the full extent of these abilities, and it has us with some questions of what the fate of Elizabeth could be in the future with this new form, and even adds us a bit of extra lore from the Holy War from 3,000 years ago. So there's a lot to jump into this chapter, as it also ends on a very big note, and I cannot wait to jump right into it. Before we jump into this chapter fully, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos, and hype up the video and help it boost in the algorithm to help it be shown to everybody else, and for more potential Four Nights and 7 Deadly Sins fans to jump on the videos as well. And if you want to see more of me outside this channel, go and check out my second channel, GW Comics, where I talk about comic books just in general. Right now, Absolute DC and DC is kind of my main focus at the moment, with Marvel sprinkled in here and there. So there's a lot of stuff I plan to do for that channel as well. It's a passion project of mine, so go check it out if you can. Links to that will be in the description down below and in the title card. Now then, let's jump right into the chapter. Chapter 228 of Four Nights of the Apocalypse, titled Perfect Time. Honestly, I feel like this is just a nod to the OST of the 7 Deadly Sins anime, because Perfect Time is like iconic for that being the main thing for the soundtrack once things actually get like hype for that series. So if that's the case, very, very well done for Nakaba to just make that be a thing. But we get a nice cover page of Elizabeth with Meliodas and Tristan in the background. Very nice cover image. For some reason, Nakaba drew her with a much longer neck. It feels kind of off-putting to a degree, but that could just be me. But anyway, we begin the chapter in earnest, as we see Cath sinisterly looking down on the defeated Sins. Meliodas is in pieces, completely bisected. Bond is basically having trouble breathing because, again, he was aged up to the point where his organs are failing him. King and Diane are brutalized and basically almost dead. And to all those that thought that this was like an illusion of Gother, it wasn't. Gother wasn't seen in the last chapter because he just got caught underneath some rubble when everyone started to surrender. Yeah, Gother had the most pathetic beatdown out of everybody. He just got kind of knocked unconscious under some buildings, potentially. So, yeah. But yeah, Cath declares his victory, cackling with glee over the battlefield with the defeated Sins. As we then cut to outside of Leonis, where all the hostages and critically injured civilians and Holy Knights are, with An just screaming out for Nazians to keep her eyes open, because she doesn't know how she's going to tell Percival that she let Nazians die. But Nazian's just sitting up and saying that she's opened her eyes and that she's fine, with even Hauser and Gila automatically getting healed up. Obviously, throughout this section, we see a bunch of glittering lights, not just around Nazians, on Hauser and Gila, there's also around the citizens and Holy Knights, as well as around Gother, Bond, King, and Diane, as even Bond says that now he can feel like he can move again. King's wings are back, fully healed, and Diane's healed as well, as everyone's wondering what's going on. Diane recognizes this power, saying that with this being full of love, it's obviously Elizabeth. With Meliodas beginning to get healed up, with his wounds stopping to no longer bleed, he's gonna end up reattaching his limbs. But Elizabeth, I believe telepathically, just tells Meliodas not to lose this and to not give up on the future, as Meliodas calls out for her name. But Cath is wondering what the hell is going on, considering the fact that we're all on death's door just a minute ago. As he then looks up to the top of Leonis Tower, as we see Elizabeth in her goddess mode, casting healing across everybody in the general vicinity. First off, this is just another thing to showcase just how wide of a range Elizabeth's healing can in fact be to go over towards the outskirts of the kingdom. It is absolutely insane. Not to mention, this is like, we've seen her do something similar to this where this happened during the Holy War arc of Seven Deadly Sins, where she was passively healing everybody, making sure that they wouldn't get any critical injuries from the battle in the Holy War. So just seeing her do this, in just an instance, really cool, and also just kind of what we all expected. The second Elizabeth comes on the battlefield, probably the strongest healer in this series, and probably could be considered in contention with one of the strongest heroes in anime, just heals everybody instantaneously. But Cath obviously notices what's going on. He jumps up into the air to face Elizabeth, as he tells her not to spoil his moment of victory, as he then begins to slash down at Elizabeth with his Chaos Arm to try and slash her right down the middle and kill her, as it almost seems that he succeeds. For an instant, it seems like he just cut Elizabeth clean in two, with Meliodas even believing this after reattaching his arms. He screams out her name, believing that she has been killed right in front of him, as he could not do anything. As he lands, King and Diane, infuriated, are basically staring him down. Diane is obviously very upset for the potential death of her best friend. It is gonna get ready to try and strike, with King trying to hold her back, saying that he'll handle things, but instead it seems like they were both killed, Diane decapitated and King bisected as well. And for an instant it seems like he dealt a fatal blow, calling the Sins that they're a pain and they should just die all over again. But shockingly to Cath, there is no sign of injury, and Diane and King are perfectly fine, as they don't know what happened because they thought that Cath just slashed right through them. But they have no time for that, as the two of them instantly lock in and start heading square to Cath. With Cath wondering what's going on, why can't they just die already? And to not look at him so impertinently. And Cath goes over and just is like, you know what, fine, screw it. You wanna know what happens when you defy me? I'ma just kill every other hostage. As we see some panels of this Chaos Beast just slicing civilians clean in two, seemingly, as Cath just cackles, saying, you see that? That's what happens when you don't do what I say. But Cath also gets another shocked expression, as we see the citizens aren't dead. Yeah, their clothes were cut clean in two, a good chunk of them has been kind of cleared off, but no, they're perfectly fine. And Cath is just completely just baffled by what this is, because there's no way everybody should be fully healed and not dead. But instead, that Gotha rises from the rubble, saying that he's seen this exact same phenomena before, saying that 3,000 years ago, during the Holy War, the Supreme Deity herself entered the battlefield, and as a single soldier from the Goddess clan, they routed out the Demon clan's 10 commandments. As we get a double-page spread cutting between images of Elizabeth changing into a brand new form, along with cuts of the Holy War where Gotha and two former commandments were just pushed back by the Goddess clan as they were instantly healed. As Gotha goes on to say that the light that shone in the sky fully healed everyone at the moment they were wounded. It got rid of pain before they could even feel it, as it was the ultimate type of healing magic, and it ensured that not a single drop of blood was spilled. And in that instance, as we get this double-page spread cutting through these different instances with Elizabeth's transforming, we get another double-page spread of a giant goddess wings shining across the kingdom, a grand total of 10 wings. As Cath is blinded by this light, and the citizens are also just in awe of this light as well. Even the Sins are wondering, is this really Elizabeth? Is she doing this? As we then get another double-page spread fully revealing to us Elizabeth's brand new form and magic, Perfect Time. Title drop. And this is an absolutely beautiful image. Elizabeth looks straight up like the Supreme Deity in this instance, just, without the sun for a face. But this form looks absolutely incredible. Grand Celestial gown, 10 wings, and also some wings on her head to symbolize her more angelic nature and to symbolize, an actual biblical angel like a seraphim. As this is just an insane new transformation. This could pretty much be the full potential of Elizabeth's abilities, similar to that of Meliodas' Demon King powers, his true magic form at the end of Seven Deadly Sins before he gave that up. And that is absolutely insane. But I also want to reel this back to what Gowther said about her healing abilities. As she is just passively using the skill, her perfect time power, she is not just healing people of their wounds, she basically made everybody practically immortal. Because the second they're being wounded, they're instantly healed, no pain, no drop of blood whatsoever. It is like they have never been even touched at all. It is an absolutely broken type of healing ability that you would honestly see from an actual god. That is absolutely insane. I like that Gowther brought this back to the Holy War to symbolize that Elizabeth is basically becoming the new supreme deity in this aspect and just unleashing this brand new power. And I'm just glad that Elizabeth is legitimately doing something to turn the tide. Obviously, I would like her to fight, and maybe she will join in the fight as well. But right now, she's going to be focused on keeping everybody practically immortal for as much time as she has. Because despite this being absolutely broken, there has to be times where there are some drawbacks, and that's where this chapter is seemingly leading us into. As right after revealing this brand new transformation, Meliodas looks up at Elizabeth, just bawling his eyes out in tears, calling her an idiot, because if she taps into that, she'll never come back again. And as she's just looking longingly at Meliodas, she just says for him not to cry and to let her fight alongside him for the sake of the world, the two of them, and the friends that banded together to protect everything, and to let her put all she has into defending the future for their precious son Tristan and all the other kids in the next generation. And that is heart-wrenching, because the way Meliodas is crying, it's as if Elizabeth is just giving her final words. Now this can mean two things. First off, I was actually kind of spoiled on this transformation, because spoilers just from the leaks of the chapter came up on my timeline, unfortunately, but hey, that is what it is when you follow multiple 7 Deadly Sins people for potential news. But two things this can mean in terms of Elizabeth never being able to come back again. One, she is seemingly doing what Escanor did at the end of 7 Deadly Sins, where he used his own life force as fuel to boost his magic and the one with Sunshine to the absolute limits so he can maintain an even more powerful version of his one state so that they could fight the Demon King. And that at the end of everything, his life force burnt out and he ended up dying and turning into dust due to how Sunshine was and how he was fueling it with his own soul. Elizabeth might be doing this as well, to boost her abilities to its absolute limit and to evolve to essentially her true magic form, her true goddess form, as the next supreme deity potentially. She has to trade in her own life right now, at least her human life basically, to reach this level of power and to be able to heal everybody and to make sure they don't die in this just insanely brutal fight against Cath. That is one possibility. The next possibility is that she is essentially fully accepted and gone through her own just transformation like Meliodas did at the end of the Purgatory arc. At the end of Purgatory, Meliodas realized and accepted who he was and gained full access to his true Demon King powers, awakening as the next Demon King and having his full destructive power, the powers of a god. So, for all we know, over this course of time, after Cursed by Light, Elizabeth potentially just knew that she could access this type of healing abilities, this full potential as the next supreme deity, as the daughter of that god. She just decided not to, because it could be the exact same situation of Meliodas at the end of 7 Deadly Sins, where because he had this insane amount of power in the mortal world, he could not stay within Britannia. He couldn't stay in the human realm, so he would have had to have gone back to the demon realm so that the world wouldn't just reject him or just collapse under the weight of his sheer presence. This could be something similar with Elizabeth, because a literal deity being in this realm should not really be the case in full with their unlimited amounts of power and just their presence. So it's very possible that once all this is over, Elizabeth might have to leave and go to the celestial realm in order to continue to exist, otherwise the world will just continue to reject her, causing natural disasters, etc., similar to Meliodas, because he was staying in Britannia for way too long after awakening to his true powers. It's honestly one of these two options on what Meliodas means. I would prefer the latter for just the sake that I don't want to see Elizabeth die. But the former, her using her life force to gain this godlike abilities to ensure the sins win and the citizens end up surviving for the next day, for the future to be set in stone and secure, narratively would make a lot more sense. The previous generation giving up their life to ensure the next generation has a world to live in, thus making a worthy sacrifice. It would be sad, it'd give us an emotional gut punch at the end of this arc, as it is a very important character, and frankly, probably the strongest character right now in this instance, if she is accessing actual supreme deity powers, fully on top of what she already achieved. Yeah, you would need that character to die in order to give the audience some real stakes, and to have consequences for this insanely overpowered ability that's happening right now. Which could lead into the possibility of the sins being able to overpower Cath, but Elizabeth ends up just burning out through her life to the point where she can't maintain perfect time anymore, and she begins to die, leaving us with Cath versus the sins, no real Deus Ex Machina to save them a second time. That will legitimately be really, really damn cool, and it would just sting for the audience, and it would definitely get an emotional reaction out of audiences, because despite criticisms of Seven Deadly Sins and Elizabeth and how she was written in the main manga, people still relatively like Elizabeth, especially towards the fact after she regained her memories and ended up being who she truly is, all in all. So that is something as well, and we care for her sins, and losing Elizabeth will hurt them, and so, yeah, the emotional gun punch is going to hit. But back to the chapter, after saying that she wants to give her all for the future and for their son, Meliodas wipes his tears as the sins look down, Bond looking away, as they all realize that this could be the end of them seeing Elizabeth. And in a really nice, small transitionary panel, Meliodas wipes away the tears, and he goes into assault mode for the first time in this series, as we get a double-page spread showcasing all 5 sins charging straight at Cath. And this is just amazing. Another glorious double-page spread in this chapter. A lot of double-page spreads in this chapter, mind you, and this was honestly just fantastic. Even though the background is just completely blank, this just shows the sins and Cath. Nothing else up in the world, just the sheer carnage that's going to unfold with near unbreakable sins against Cath, the pseudo Lord of Chaos. It is going to be absolutely incredible, with the final page of the chapter being a collage of all the sins charging over and ready to hit Cath with everything they got, with Cat meeting them in tow. And that's where this chapter ends. Honestly, I love this chapter. It was really good. Not only we got some great lore about the holy war with the supreme deity being with her abilities, and transitioning that with Elizabeth having her own transformation, which is just absolutely incredible. But the fact that this will lead into a legitimate sacrifice for Elizabeth, either she'll have to leave the human realm after this arc, or she will most likely die after accessing this full power of hers. It is honestly legitimately a really cool moment, and gives Elizabeth something to do, while also giving her narrative weight, and participating in the battle against Cath. And with Meliodas going into assault mode finally, this is the showcase of this being the final stages of this fight, and this mini assault arc is going to end very soon. Because we have already gone through 3 stages of this fight, and at this point, this has to be the final one. What will happen next? How will Cath get out of this time, since he doesn't have the leverage of hostages anymore to win? And what will become of Elizabeth and the Sins? Are they actually going to beat back Cath and defeat him? Or will something else happen going forward? You guys let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. And once more, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy to make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. And I really am excited for the future of Fortnite Apocalypse. This arc has been absolutely incredible, and I cannot wait to see what happens next, because I really do want what happens with the conclusion of this fight to make sense, and to just put more emphasis on the 4 Knights. Either that, or we just get this charging sequence, and then we just completely cut away from this fight and just go to the 4 Knights and their adventure. That's a possibility too, with Nakba leaving us on a cliffhanger for everything that's going on. But yeah, that's everything I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope you all have an awesome day.